Get ready for the smackdown. Get ready for the smackdown. What you gonna do when you're hit with the facts now? Watch out for smackdown. In a world where truth is bent, we've got science on our side. Flat earth beats on, it's all pretend. But facts will be died. Get ready for the smackdown. Get ready for the smackdown. They'll lie while the earth spins around. Watch out for smackdown. They cling to ancient misconceptions. We've got truth in our possession. No room for doubt, no time to waste. It's time to put flat earth in its place. Here comes the smackdown.
Welcome everybody to Tuesday Night on a Thursday. I am your host, MC Toon. I hope you're ready for the SmackDown. The SmackDown tonight will be with a moon landing denier. So that will be interesting. It's on Matters Now on a different channel. A friend of mine, Ozian, runs the channel, owns it. But he won't be doing much today. He's just facilitating. The moderator will be Dr. J. Not the basketball player. Dr. J. Anyway, he's going to moderate. I already have received the StreamYard link. I'm going to join up in a second, though. I had a couple things to do last minute that delayed my start, but that's okay. We got about 10 minutes until the actual... I'm blowing out the mic. Got about 10 minutes. All right, let me look at that. 10 minutes until it starts. So what did I do? So there's some changes to the microphone that I made. So, all right, I'm glad you're here to all assist. So gain, compressor. So I'm thinking the gain. So I have a compressor and a limiter going. So I'm thinking the gain might be a little high, and it's still like, there it is. Okay, down too much now. I don't know why the gain. All right, so is it clipping anymore now? So anyway, I've restarted the computer since the last time I did this, so I don't know. Gain is definitely, is it still, it's better? I got one better, I got much better. I got seems good now, okay. Yeah, I think the gain was just too high because I've got a compressor, so, and a limiter, but I don't have a gate. Should put a gate in here, but anyway. What mic am I using? It's an Audio Technica AT2020. So anyway, all right. Let me get the link opened up here to Matters Now. So, all right. What's the chance? What's the chance that that he'll have evidence versus just saying things, right? I think he's just going to say things. It's just going to all be conspiracy. That's my thought. We'll see. All right, okay. I got to clean up a few things here to prepare for this, prepare the scene for what we're about to see here. Okay. So, oh yeah, if you are watching this on my channel, you should also watch on Matters Now. The Matters Now link is in the description. But if somebody could get, what's 0%? Oh, 0% of yeah, okay. if somebody could put the link to the Matters Now version of this in there, I'd love that. That'd be good, please. All right. There it is. There it is. Audio. Let's see. Microphone should be to Zoom. Okay. There it is. Now I use Streamlab because sometimes I have issues. So, all right, I'm in, and when I can hear them, I'll make sure.
Are you in the poll? Since you commented about getting it wrong, should I?
No. I'll leave it up. I'm just messing with people. I'm allowed to mess with people.
Hey,
Hello.
how's it going?
Look.
Good. I'm live on my channel, so you know.
Okay. I'm just here. Wait. Oh, look. I'm MC2, and people get confused.
Oh, you're Watchfrog now.
No.
Now you're Watchfrog.
Camera.
There it is. Is Watchfrog in the house?
He was in the
is.
live chat. Oh, there.
Oh, he's here.
Okay.
Where?
Oh no, you're Watchfrog. I'm sorry.
Yeah. He was in the live chat. I said check X for the link. Oh wait, no one's watching. I can share the camera.
People are
I put a poll up.
people are watching.
Which brand?
People are watching.
Which brand?
People are watching.
What? No one's
McToon
watching.
is live. MC Toon's live. So
Oh shoot.
so
I mean, I
whatever
haven't-
horrible
I haven't-
things you were gonna say, knock it off.
I haven't put you on screen yet, though.
Oh, but on the poll, I put a poll up for people watching your thing, so they come check out our poll. It says, which U.S. military branch saw more men walk on the moon? And I put Navy Marines, because I couldn't break it up to 4 branches. Air Force, Army, or NASA lied. And because some people think NASA lied. Oh, there's Watchfrog. There you go.
All right.
I'm not ready. What did I do? I messed something up.
Take your time. There's no rush.
Okay, guys. Ozgian's in the background, but he's not going to talk. So it's just going to be the 3 of us. He is going to help me mark super chats or questions or whatever. So, but if I have to kick him out, I will. But he usually is a good kid and doesn't bother us. Are we going to be having openings? Do we have opening arguments to provide?
Yeah, sure. We can certainly do that.
Okay, is 10
And I
minutes?
certainly do have an opening myself.
Is 10 minutes okay? Do you want it shorter?
Slice for me.
10's good.
Okay. And then after that, we'll go into open discussion, but I'll probably do some controlling. So just as I mentioned in the discussion, the way I do these is I'm kind of the boss, and we sort of do it my way. So my goal is to entertain the audience the best I can. So usually that means I don't say much, but if you guys are boring or just screaming at each other and not saying anything, I'm not going to find that particularly interesting myself. So hopefully I won't have to intervene too much, but ultimately I have the control, if that makes sense.
No, it's perfectly fine. Give me one moment. Would it be okay if I can just briefly share the link out to people all over the internet? Give me one moment. I just had the link up. Goddamn.
Sure.
There it
Well,
is.
I'm planning on going live here in about 2 minutes.
Oh, we're not even live yet. Okay.
McToon's audience, I think, is hearing us, but we're not live on Matters Now.
All right. Give me one moment.
McToon, MC Toon,
MC
Whatever.
Tune.
MC Toon. I should get it right. Do you both have presentations, or either of you have presentations?
I have a presentation.
I do have an opening statement. Last debate I did, I went first. If he wants to go first, that's perfectly fine.
MC Tune, is that okay? You want to go first? Do you care?
As long as he understands that my presentation is not the opportunity for him to respond to it in his presentation.
I will not
right?
speak. I will not be rude and interrupt you.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean, if I give a presentation and then your presentation is just a response to my presentation, that's not the idea. The idea is that I give my presentation.
Something.
Okay.
I prepared an opening statement. I have no idea what you plan to present, and we can discuss what you present after both of our opening statements.
Okay. If you guys would also do me a favor and write down each other's points or make notes of each other's arguments and try to address those specifically, that would be fantastic if you could do that. Hopefully your presentations are clear enough that you'll be able to know what those are, so we can make sure we try to address whatever points are made in the opening statements.
Yep.
Fair enough. So who runs the Matters Now channel?
Ozian's the man. I'm a minion helper. So Ozian's the guy that does it. Yep. All right, here we go. I'm going to start a little intro song, and then we're going to go live.
Here is the end of the night.
All right. I paused the I turned off so you don't see it, but he's doing the opening there. Trying to listen, but not listen all of it. It's loud. Anyway, well, I saw a couple super chats come in. So what I'll do is I'll read them after. If there's something I can get in there during, I'll get it in there during. But if I can't, then I'll certainly get them after. And I do have an after show set to go. So unless this goes ridiculously long, I'll do the after show as a separate video, and anything I miss in the first video for super chats or whatever, I will read in the second one. So.
All right, welcome to Matters Now. I'm Dr. J. I'll be hosting the debate tonight, and I'll also be doing the moderating. We have MC Toon and Mr. Frog, whose name is not written down there, so I've forgotten the full thing, but I'm sure he can remind us what it is. Thank you for joining us. We'll go ahead and bring them on stage right now. We went ahead and decided that we were going to be doing 10-minute opening arguments. MC Toon is going to provide a 10-minute opening argument for us first, and then that is going to be followed up by a 10-minute opening argument by Watch Frog. I've asked them both to take notes of the other person's arguments, and then when we move into the next portion after opening statements, hopefully we can address one another's points that we have made in the opening statements. So please like and subscribe and all such things. And now, MC Toon, please get us started. I will start a timer, and you are on.
All right, I'm going to share my screen. Here, just a second. That's not the right one. Well, I'm searching for the correct one in here. You give me a second. There it is. All right, are you seeing that?
It's loading. Yes, hammer and feather.
Yep.
All right, get us started.
All right. Well, so Apollo 15. During Apollo 15, they did the hammer and feather demonstration, where where David Scott dropped a hammer and a feather at the same time. They fell at the same rate. And on Earth, we have predictions about what gravity and air resistance would do, and on the Moon, we predict that there would be less gravity and no air resistance, or such a small amount that it would not matter. So here is the actual demonstration.
Where would be a better place to confirm his findings?
Is the audio coming through?
Yeah, I hear it loud and clear.
On the moon. And so we thought we'd try it here for you. The feather happens to be appropriately a falcon feather for our falcon. And I'll drop the two of them here, and hopefully they'll hit the ground at the same time. How about that?
So, the analysis is that they fell at the same rate, both the hammer and the feather. So it has to be an extremely low pressure, essentially a vacuum. Could it be in a vacuum chamber on the Earth? Well, if it was, it would have to be an exceptionally large vacuum chamber, because during this this broadcast, it was a live broadcast, they moved around a lot. And further in Apollo 16, the subsequent mission, they did a similar kind of not a similar demonstration. They did a demonstration where they drove the buggy around and somebody stood there and filmed it from a distance. And he drove somewhere in the vicinity of 100 to 150 yards away from where the camera was. So it would be an exceedingly large vacuum chamber, the largest vacuum chamber that's ever been made by a long stretch, if it were to have been done in there. And it would have to be a vacuum chamber because that one also had dust and things moving in a way where it had to be only done in a vacuum. So anyway, so could it be in a vacuum chamber on Earth? Well, one could say that, but they would need to show that vacuum chamber's existence. And then what was the rate of acceleration, which is a little bit more of an issue there, because we can count the frames, right? So the frame rate of the broadcast, the live broadcast, was 29.97 frames per second. And then how many frames did it take to fall? We can do that, and then we can find out a few things about it. So I
They'll
counted.
hit the ground at the same time. How about that? They'll hit the ground at the same time.
So I counted each of the frames.
How about that?
36 frames it took. Well, now that we know how long it took to fall, at the rate of the frame rate of 29.97 frames per second, that gives us 1.2 seconds is how long it took to fall. And the height was about 4 feet or 1.22 meters. And so then we can use the kinematic equations to determine the downward acceleration. So we go over here to Hyperphysics website. We can pull up one of the four equations there. We're going to use number 3, which is x equals v naught t plus 1/2 at squared. And here's the application of it. The first term is 0 because the velocity is 0 at the beginning. It's coming from a drop, so that we only just have x equals 1/2 at squared. X is the height, and t is 1.2 seconds. We solve for that, we get 1.69 meters per second squared. Oh, I left off the squared unit in that one there. So that's the downward acceleration that we're seeing there. So the measured drop time was 1.69. If we do, I'm not going to go over the math. You can do it yourself. The predicted drop time on the moon was 1.63 meters per second squared. That's very close. We're accurate to two significant figures. Gravity on the Earth is 9.8 meters per second squared, so it's a dramatic discrepancy in the two times. That confirms the gravity of the moon is what we are seeing there. So the conclusion is that the hammer and feather demonstration must have taken place in a vacuum and at a rate of downward acceleration matching the moon's magnitude. So, and that is that's my presentation.
Okay, so that presentation was about 5 minutes long. Watchfrog, you will still get a full 10 minutes. MC Toon does not get any extra time any other places because he didn't take his full time on the intro. He had 10. He chose to use 5. And you also have 10. You can choose to use all 10 or not. But are you ready to go?
Yeah, hopefully I don't need the full 10. This was hopefully short. But before I do my intro, just give me 1 second. Let me take a swig of this giant water. Got to stay hydrated for the speech. Also, for those who don't know, I am Giovanni, the host of the Watch Frogs. I'm a political analyst. I'm a Second Amendment enthusiast. The majority of my content revolves around promoting firearms, celebrating firearms, doing firearm-related content, building puppets, building a lot of really cool shit, talking about the world in a way that's a little bit different than some of the other commentary channels based off of my professional and personal experience. So I think you'd like it. And I'm going to be doing a brand new web series, docu-series called Fake Crimes, which is kind of an interesting twist on the true crime podcast nonsense we've seen all over the internet. So with that being said, let me just go ahead and get into my opening remarks.
All right. Go ahead.
So the last debate I had with the mutual of some of the people here, my objective was to simply impeach the scientific community online, and with good reason, to which I'll circle back to soon enough. I am a moon landing skeptic. I am not convinced any man or woman has set foot on the surface of the moon. However, with compelling concrete evidence, I will more than be happy to amend statements made in the past. I have two objectives now, different from before, which is to hopefully explain why I am skeptical of the moon landing. And the second objective is to defend and promote skepticism. Is it okay to be skeptical? Is it okay to ask questions? Is it okay to be curious? When someone claims the Earth is flat or that the moon landing event never occurred, the individual is smeared, misrepresented, and viciously attacked for merely disagreeing and seeing the world differently than the acolytes of science. The purveyors of scientific achievement aim to destroy the character and reputation of said individual who dares to think differently or dares to see the world and events surrounding it differently than what is taught through our failing public education system. And if we want to be honest, higher education is failing its students too. All this begs the question, why is it so important for these priests of science to use their platform and their voice to destroy anyone who dares to suggest that the moon landing event might not have occurred? Why is it so important to annihilate anyone who seeks to prove the shape of the Earth might not be what is advertised in scientific literature? Those ideologically possessed by scientific authoritarianism cannot simply be satisfied with knowing what they think they know about the Earth or the moon. They feel it necessary to cut a man down for daring to think differently. For what reason, or for whatever reason, it enrages the people who will listen to this debate that guys like me, a member of the proletariat, does not bend the knee to the likes of men like Dr. Fauci, Sam Harris, or my former debate partner, Craig. I refuse to be bullied into believing in things that I'm not certain to be so. I refuse to cower to a faceless and angry mob. What transpired for over 48 hours during and after my last debate, a torrent of attacks by my former debate partner's most creepiest supporters and Craig himself, merely because I am skeptical of the moon landing. Here's just a brief example of what I endured: blatant misrepresentations about my beliefs. Now, I'm no flat earther by any meaningful metric. I have zero opinion about the shape of the planet. I don't believe I've ever seen it, and I've never professed the shape of the Earth. For whatever reason, these cry-bullies with an affinity for science feel the need to falsely label me a flat earther for not conforming with their ideological framework. Violent cultists do this. Religious fanatics do this. Terror organizations engage in this behavior, and apparently so do those who are overly enthusiastic about scientific knowledge. Another interesting observation was denial of observable reality from one of these priests of science. Sometimes this is referred to as coping. I made a cheeky offhanded comment about my former debate partner's drug use on camera. I made an accurate statement immediately afterwards that marijuana is a chemical enhancer and it's addictive. And the coping response is, it's just a plant. I never said or suggested otherwise, but an interesting deflection from a correct statement I made nonetheless. Later on, during the 48-hour struggle session I endured, I presented multiple different scholarly sources that marijuana is addicting, from Yale Medicine, WebMD, and even the Canadian government. Also, it's kind of self-evident that marijuana is addictive. You don't need a PhD or a lab coat to get that one right. Finally, another interesting attack used against me was my proclivity to be in favor of book bans, which is certainly true. These science enjoyers don't seem to mind or are in complete denial of the fact that pornographic content is being pushed on the youth of America throughout the public education system. And no matter how many videos of grieving parents at these school board meetings exist, or literal students being penalized for refusing to engage with the pornographic content, these creeps who worship at the altar of science still deny it. What I'm trying to say is the people who loudly preach the gospel of scientific theories are not infallible. They're not perfect. Many of them are not even good. They cloak their nefarious demons in their soul with objectivity and scientific gibberish. But I see many of these people for who they really are: bitter, hateful, resentful, and violent if they could be. I thank God every day that many of my ideological opponents are weak. But make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, because if they had the means to wipe out guys like me, they would if they could get away with it. We can marvel all day about science's many great achievements, if you will. But let us not forget that science brought us the atom bomb, biological weapons, child genital mutilation, and the means to carry out the most heinous acts known to man, which can only be done on an industrial scale thanks to science. In 2020, science was used to strip my fellow Americans of their constitutional and human rights, forcing people, making them uncomfortable, and outright threatening them for refusing to inject pharmaceutical products into their body, for refusing to put on useless cloth bags over their mouths. The priests of science convinced the developed world to shutter their own businesses, forgo their individual liberty, arrest and detain anybody wanting to play outside, and to censor the lawful speech of political dissidents such as myself, who said, no, I will not shut up. I will not take the drugs. I will not bend the knee to little Tony Fauci, and I will not comply. For those listening with an open mind and heart, please do not despair. Do not be afraid to think for yourself. Do not be afraid to espouse different ideas, and it's okay to be skeptical of extraordinary claims that require extraordinary evidence. A lot of brave men and women died so we can be different and think differently. If you got a good heart and soul, resist this while you still can. If you got a voice, use it and speak out while you still can, before they try and take that away from you. I know it in my bones to be true. If Craig had his way, he'd stomp on me and flat earthers like we're little bugs, horse laughing at the suffering he inflicts upon us for daring to rebuke his precious science. All I saw the past few days are bloodthirsty tyrants who would gladly censor my speech because saying the moon landing is fake pisses them off. There's no reason for me to believe in the moon landing occurred as it's advertised by the regime media propagandists. If I can't see the machines, tools, and flag left behind on the surface of the moon, then what is the point? Those opposed to me are willing to lie to me to my face about addictive nature of drugs and pornography being forced onto the children of the United States public education system. If they're willing to do that, why wouldn't they lie about man on the moon? So with that being said, why is it so important for people like me to believe what you do and to obey the curriculum in the public education system surrounding the moon landing? Thank you for everybody who listened.
Okay, we're going to now move into the next section here. MC Toon, would I be correct in saying that your evidence that you provided, your arguments all revolved around the feather and hammer example, and you provided, different arguments all related to that, correct?
Yes, I did present evidence.
Okay, Watchfrog, if you could maybe just say in like 30 seconds what your main points were that you would like MC Toon to address.
I do have questions for him, but I'll also kind of restate my skepticism of the moon landing. My personal philosophy is that if something or someone makes a claim, I should be able to verify it independently myself, without the reliance of people like my debate partner or my former debate partner, Craig. I think it's important for people to think for themselves.
Don't go too long here. I just am saying what you're saying is your main argument that you want MC Toon to address is that you are skeptical, you don't have enough evidence.
Correct. And may I address what he actually spoke about the hammer and the feather?
So this is what we're going to do now. Watchfrog, I'm going to hand this to you for about 10 minutes if you need that much. What I'm saying
just
is,
a few seconds.
This is what we're going to do. I'm going to give you about 10 minutes. You don't have to take all the time. And you're in the driver's seat. You can ask MC Toon as many questions as you would like about attacking his arguments and addressing why you think they're not good or whatever. Does that make sense? So sure. MC Toon may talk a lot because you'll be asking him questions. This is not a matter of who's talking the most, but you're in the driver's seat. You're going to go after what MC Toon said, and then I will give him the opportunity to do the same to you. Sound all right?
Correct.
Go for it.
All right. Well, I just spoke quite a bit, so I'm just going to ask really quickly. Again, the footage isn't entirely convincing or compelling. There is another footage that exists, I'm sure you have seen it, of the American flag being planted on the moon and the flag itself, not the pole, remaining upright. Yet we have this feather and hammer falling straight down. Is there a reason for that you might be able to explain? I'm just curious. I'm just asking. I'm not even debating. I'm just curious.
A reason that the hammer and feather fell straight down?
Yeah, but the flag, the actual flag, not the pole, the flag remained upright, seemingly, unless I'm misremembering it.
So you didn't actually look into this at all?
Absolutely not. I have no reason to believe any of this occurred.
So you did zero background investigation on the topic?
I use logic and reason to come to the conclusion that there's zero reason for me to believe that the moon landing occurred.
So no evidence. You didn't use any evidence. You didn't analyze anything.
The government made the claim that the moon landing transpired the way that it did, and there's plenty of people such as myself that do not believe in it, even though at a very young age that we were taught that this event occurred. But you know, I'm not a scientist, and neither are little children.
Yeah, I understand that you're not a scientist. That's painfully obvious. So, in fact, you're not a researcher, because the question that you asked is not even, it's not even like moon landing denier 101. That's like remedial moon landing denier stuff for people that are basically kindergartners on moon landing denial. It's kind of embarrassing.
MC Toon, could you just kind of answer?
No, not at all. You know, like it doesn't make a lot of sense for the kind of people who approach you or Craig and debate the moon landing. They're not scientists themselves either, yet they're quoting you all these scientific equations, are propping up graphs, and they're contesting what you're saying, but they're not scientists. And I don't believe for a second that they understand what is coming out of their mouths. Why would they? Because they're not scientists, but there's something in their bones, something in their heart and soul that is telling them that this event did not occur as advertised by the regime media propagandists. And you guys want people to believe this. It obviously upsets you that regular Americans, regular people, do not believe in the moon landing. And by the way, their numbers are growing. I'm not a flat earther. I don't belong to any moon landing conspiracy community or anything like that. But I do see that their numbers are growing because of the behavior of your supporters and the behavior of your mutuals like Craig. You guys are doing a massive disservice to science if you care about it.
All right, I'm going to talk now. All right, this is the Debater's Guide. It's a little guide on how to do debates, and you'll see right here on page 22. On page 22, it talks about the different things that people have as responsibilities when they participate in a debate, and you and I are currently in a debate. So this applies to both of us in the debate that we're in right now. And so when you have a position, and you have a position in this debate, your position is, it was a hoax, I suppose. That's your claim right here. You see that? That's your claim.
Sure.
And then what you do is you make the claim, and then to support the claim, you have data. That would be the evidence and different things that you would have gone and researched and gotten evidence and, you know, pulled it together and put together a presentation. And then you have a warrant, and the warrant is the application of logic and reasoning that ties together the data to support the claim, right? So if you notice, when I did my presentation, I did exactly that. I made the claim that Apollo 15 was recorded on the moon, and then the data that I had was the analysis of the video, and the counting of the frames, and the application of the law of gravitational attraction, things like that. And that's the warrant, right? Then the warrant was pulling that together to say, well, here's the things that I did, and that supports the claim. So that's just a little hint for you. So your position in this debate, Frog, is to support your claim with data and a warrant, right? So that's okay,
I'm just going to jump in here. I understand what you're saying, MC Toon, but I kind of articulated that Watchfrog is sort of in charge of this section of the time. And so if he would like you to talk to you about the flag, would you please do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, Watchfrog is in charge of the conversation right now.
May before he answers, may I just interject just one little thing really quickly? I'm reading the About Me section of Matters Now. It says your gateway to exploring the intersections of science and philosophy, which is certainly what I brought to the table. And the condescension is not appreciated. And again, I'm no one's parent. I'm not God. I don't tell people what to do. But if I love science as much as you guys do, that would not be my approach to getting people to be sympathetic towards your worldview and to your side here.
All right. Well, to answer your question, the reason why the flag was out is because the engineers, knew that there would be no wind there, and that if they put a flag up there, that it would just hang down straight on the pole, which isn't all that interesting to look at. So they planned ahead, and they put a rigid bar across the top of it as part of the flag that they erected.
Okay. Simple enough, I suppose. Not sure if it's very compelling, especially when individuals such as myself were unable to see the surface of the moon and see what was left behind. Because, again, the layman does not need to know the science and the equations and the math if they can visually confirm that objects were left on the surface of the moon. And one, they know the moon is very, very far away. And two, it is very difficult to get there. And if human objects are left behind, it stands to reason that everything that you say is 100% true. And that would be the case. And again, there would be no reason for individuals like me to, dive into the minutia of scientific information to come to the conclusion that apparently you have. Again, it's just not entirely convincing. And I'll give everybody a philosophical exercise, a good philosophical example. I am a working class man. I make a very modest salary. I can't afford a Lamborghini, but if I'm going around bragging about having this car and you say, oh, well, can I see it? That sounds really cool. And I present to you pictures of a Lamborghini. I present to you a manual that I printed off the internet of a Lamborghini that shows you the inner workings of this machine. I mean, is that very compelling to suggest that the claim I'm making is true? It's like, yes, we get it. There's photos of Lamborghinis. Yes, we get it. The manuals are out there that explain how this machine works. But we can bypass all of that. I can just open up the garage and I can show you this magnificent vehicle, which probably doesn't exist because it would be impossible possible for me to afford a vehicle that's that exceeds $300,000 or whatever those things are worth these days, especially with inflation. So yeah.
Anything else for McToon, or are you ready to hand it over for him to?
Yeah, please.
Okay, McToon, did you have anything to try to address there with that opening?
Yeah, well, that was quite a thing. So I showed the analysis of the live footage that people saw as it was broadcast immediately live. And so I would like him to actually respond substantively to my presentation. And Dr. J, as you said, you suggested that he take notes. I took notes as well. There wasn't a lot of notes for me to take, but he should have had quite a few notes as I presented a good amount of evidence. So could you respond to the analysis I did on the amount of time that the hammer and feather fell in relation to the law of gravitational attraction applying to them?
Well, as a skeptic, it could be very possible that the little objects in the hands of this astronaut were dropped to the floor or to the surface of the moon or the set of the moon through some technical means. That could certainly be a possibility, especially for somebody who remains skeptical of this event. But again, if I am skeptical of this entire endeavor, why would somebody such as myself, and not just me, because I know you guys talk to a lot of these moon landing people, why would they find this footage compelling to begin with, especially as laymen who don't understand gravitational pull or math or equations surrounding gravity, not just on the planet Earth but on the moon?
Well, so for reference, the law of gravitational attraction and the formulas that are used there, the kinematics equations, those are covered in between 8th grade and 11th grade for pretty much everybody in the United States. So you don't need to be a scientist to have that. If you have successfully completed high school, you've gotten the necessary prerequisites to understand all that. So you didn't actually address for 1 second the evidence that I presented. So
I did. I asked
guess,
you questions about it. I 100% addressed it.
No, you didn't. You didn't even begin to talk about it at all. You said, "Well, it could have been something." No, if it could have been something, then what was it? Where's your evidence for that thing that you say it could have been? Where's the analysis of it? Where's something? Anything at all? I mean, this is a debate. This is your chance to actually do something. But so far, I've just been kicking your butt, and you've just been letting it happen. I mean, you should be
not
kind of
necessarily.
embarrassed.
I know you guys like to believe that. Again, I want to profess the necessity of skepticism. It is more important now than ever to be skeptical of people like yourself who really, really like science and really want to push this stuff onto people. And again, the condescension about 11th grade, 12th grade, whatever people learn this stuff.
It's not condescension. If you completed high school, you went into it. You covered it.
I did.
If you went through high school, you've already been through these things.
Yeah, but
right?
The public education is not adequate enough.
But did you graduate high school?
Correct, I did.
Okay, then you actually got this necessary topic coverage for the presentation I did.
Well, that presentation might not have been, or the instruction regarding the moon landing during my time in school may not have been necessary or adequate to understanding the intricacies of the moon landing occurring.
I didn't go over anything intricate.
And we were
none of what I did was intricate.
This is what happened, and this is how. And I'm like, okay, but again, you can, like, I'm not a mechanic. You can spew mechanical jargon at me all day. It doesn't mean I'm going to understand.
It wasn't mechanical
how
jargon.
A vehicle works.
I didn't spew mechanical jargon. I gave you.
I know you didn't.
Simple equations.
I'm using a hypothetical here. I'm using.
I gave you simple equations
I'm engaged in philosophical exercise, and you don't understand
people in
really
high
simple
school
concepts.
have already covered, and you have now professed that you successfully completed high school, so you have the necessary background in this to cover this. So now, so far, the other thing is...
No, I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you.
Oh, so you did not complete high school, or did you take remedial classes?
No, I did, but I don't agree with your assessment about... you have a lot of faith in public education. I don't know how long it's been since you've actually set foot in a public school, but no, they are very inadequate at preparing students for the real world, let alone understanding the science behind the so-called moon landing.
So what I covered... What I covered is literally something that's somewhere between 8th and 9th grade for the most part.
Okay.
Even in I don't know when you graduated high school successfully, but even since I went through, it has not in those topics gone that far south. So I don't know when did you graduate? Was it
many moons ago?
Okay.
Many moons ago. All
right. So the current state, as your claims are, has nothing to do with the state of this education when you went through, right?
Well, the state of education has been in the steep decline for quite a while.
Okay.
Illiteracy rates are up, dropout rates are up.
Are you illiterate or are you a dropout?
No.
Okay, so then it doesn't apply.
I'm a very rare exception.
Right.
I'm a very rare exception.
Cool. So it doesn't apply.
Besides the point, we're talking about the majority of people.
No, we're not talking about the majority of people. We're talking about you. You.
Oh, okay.
I presented to you, not to the majority of people. To you, I presented the analysis.
Well, to be fair, I don't recall how much time was spent on the moon landing when I was in school.
None of the moon landing background was necessary. It was the law of gravitational attraction and kinematic equations.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't remember any of that. I don't remember. It was, I don't remember.
Okay,
it was probably partying or ditching school. I don't remember that.
So that's how you? I mean, that really tells us a lot about the psychology of how you got to where you are today.
No, not necessarily. I'm going to be honest with everybody. I never thought about the moon landing until I made a really cheeky joke about it not happening, and the response was horrid.
But the point isn't. I thought to myself,
there's probably something.
But watch Rock. The point isn't the moon landing stuff that you got in school. The point is the background fundamental science that I was talking about. right? So you look at the moon landing and say, oh, what about this? Well, let's do some analysis. So this is what a skeptic does. A skeptic looks at the claim, looks at the evidence, does the analysis. That's what a skeptic does, right? A denialist looks at the evidence and says, nuh-uh, I'm not convinced, and I'm not going to do any analysis on it. And that is what you've done.
Correct.
Correct. So you're not,
claim to the
you
moon
are
landing.
not
There's,
a skeptic. You are a denialist.
yes, I am. Now you're trying to twist these words.
A skeptic, but a skeptic does things, and you didn't do the things that a skeptic does. You did the exact things.
I looked at the claim.
You did the things that a denialist does, and then you agreed with me that that's what you did.
Not the way in which you put it, though.
Did you?
The government made the claim that man landed on the moon.
But did you analyze the evidence?
Yeah, sure, I certainly did.
What evidence did you analyze?
Well, some of the footage, I'm just like, I'm not really convinced.
Be very specific, Mr. So-called skeptic. What specific evidence did you analyze? If you're a skeptic, because that's what a skeptic would do. What evidence did you analyze?
Well, there's footage of these men leaving behind, technology on the moon.
Okay.
If I'm unable to see that technology that was left behind on the moon, what reason is it? What reason is there to believe that this event occurred?
Okay,
absent all the scientific mumbo jumbo?
You didn't answer my question. What specific things did you analyze?
Analyze the claim.
What specifically? Be very specific, and let's talk about the very specific.
Man left behind stuff on the moon.
That's very general. That's the opposite of specific. What specific things did you analyze?
Well, there was a lot of footage that was presented by yourself and Craig and Ozzy and Talks, but that stuff isn't really. It doesn't really. It's not compelling to me. It's not compelling to the majority of people who are skeptical of the moon.
Got you.
Because they don't understand or know the science.
You're making my point here. You did not do any analysis. A skeptic would do the analysis. That's what skeptics do. They see something, they're like, I don't know about that. Let me look into it. Let me evaluate the evidence. Let me do the analysis of the evidence. Let me go and look for other things around it to see if there's supporting evidence or things line up. If maybe there's an additional line of evidence on something for multiple supporting things. But no, you've said very clearly here that you did exactly zero analysis.
No, and again, I don't believe the onus or the burden is on people like myself who are skeptical of this event.
You're not skeptical.
The government and people like
you're
yourself,
a denialist.
Yes, you can
stop saying you're skeptical.
But I'm using the word correctly. People like myself who are skeptical of the government and the claims that they make. If they are the ones that are making the claim, and if people like myself are not satisfied with the evidence, there's no reason for us to believe it.
I presented the evidence that you have now refused to actually respond to.
I did respond to it, but you weren't happy with it, so that's not my problem. That's a you problem.
Your response was, "I'm not convinced." That's the essence of your response.
Correct. People are presented with ideas.
That's not analysis. You didn't do any analysis. You just denied it, which is not what a skeptic does. It's what a denialist does. I'm not convinced is exactly the words that a denialist says. A skeptic says, oh, I looked at the evidence, I analyzed it, here's what I found, here's the application of these different things that I did, and I came to the conclusion that these didn't line up, the claims didn't line up with the evidence. That's what a skeptic does. You didn't do that. You just said, I'm not convinced, and that's it. That's not skeptic.
Yeah, correct.
That's denial.
Okay, the claims are not compelling enough for me to believe in it.
I got to jump in here. Please, if you have any questions, please leave them in chat. We'll be taking those later, so please do that. Please like and subscribe. I kind of made sure MC Toon kind of direct that conversation. I think that went correctly. Do you guys want to move back to Watchdog directing Frog? Excuse me, I'm going to say both of your names wrong the whole time. MC Toon and Watchfrog, are we okay with you? Do we want to have open conversation? Are we okay with that, or do we?
We can do questions first if you'd like.
I think it'd be great if he actually stuck to the topic. We are debating the moon landing. I have a burden of proof, and he has a burden of proof, and so I think it would be good for him to work on supporting his burden.
Watchfrog, would you like to respond to that? We've kind of covered that, but do you have anything new?
Well, I take issue with the misrepresentation of the word skeptic. Like, I used to be an atheist, and a lot of atheists are skeptical of religious belief or religious dogma, and they, for the most part, are skeptical and they also deny the existence of a deity or deities. I'm using the term correctly, but people who enjoy science or do these types of debates, they take contention with the word and they try to engage in this game of semantics, and it's just not going to work on me. I'm not going to concede that point whatsoever. And I'm looking at the chat too, and everything I said, much like the last time I debated Craig, foreshadows exactly the behavior of this crowd. And by the way, the things that I said, they don't necessarily apply to you, MC Tune, because I don't know you, but your mutuals on the other hand, some of your supporters and fans on the other hand.
That's totally off topic.
I do see resentment.
Don't care.
I do see anger and
off
fear.
Topic. Off topic.
No, it's not off topic, because the whole point of this show or this program is to discuss science and philosophy.
This is a debate about the moon landing. This specific instance of this show is a debate between you and me.
And calls for philosophy to be injected into it.
So I run the show.
It's in the description, dude.
I run the show today, and the show today is we are having a debate on the moon landing hoax. So yes, we will have other programs related to that other stuff. But on Matters Now, we address many topics. We have many things to discuss. But today, we're having a debate on the moon landing hoax. If there's nothing more we'd like to say about that, we can move to questions.
Well, I'll ask him a question really quick. Why is it so important for you guys to be this animated and this excited about this specific topic? What is it about people like myself who are skeptical of the moon landing occurring in this response? I honestly want to know. You seem very sensible, at least a lot more than the people that I've spoken with. And I'd like to know, plain and simple.
I think the rampant spread of dishonesty in the name of things like religion or skepticism in your case, or false claims of being truthers. I think it's a problem, and it poisons people's minds to not understand how to actually evaluate whether or not something is accurate or not. And I think it's perfectly been demonstrated here, because you've done zero analysis, yet you reject it, and you have zero ability to address the evidence I presented. So the fact that you think that you should have a voice in this is troubling, because you didn't do anything necessary to have a voice in this. But the internet has lowered the bar so that people who have zero, actual ability to meaningfully address a topic can get quickly and easily on the internet and start talking as if they have some sort of a background and have some sort of authority or understanding. And it will fool people that are easily fooled into thinking that you know what you're talking about, for example, when you clearly don't. That's what the problem is. I did. Oh, yeah, you did. By the fact that you agreed to come to a moon landing hoax debate and you know nothing about the topic whatsoever is very telling, that you have this Dunning-Kruger on you, that you think that you have some sort of a position, that you would actually dare to come to this when you clearly don't have the necessary background to even touch this topic.
None of the people that you guys have spoken with and debated have the necessary background. I've watched.
You're right. They don't have, you're right. They're not
scientific. Yeah, I know. And again, my opening statement, what I alluded to in my opening statement, if it was up to him, he would silence the people who disagree with him. Full stop. It's exactly what I wanted to prove. And you fell right fucking into it. This like, you guys think so little of the commoner. Like if you had,
I think very little of you on this topic.
You absolutely would.
On this topic, I have zero respect for you on this topic. You may have
respect.
You may have
respectable. You were condescending to me, not the other way around.
You may have a valid point on some other topic, but this topic, you are total Dunning-Kruger. You should not really speak on it.
Explain Dunning-Kruger.
Dunning-Kruger is the false impression that one has a high level of expertise in a topic when they actually have a low level of expertise.
When have I ever said I had a high expertise in the moon landing?
By coming to this debate.
That's not true. That's wrong. Cope. You're fucking coping. I never said, I made it very clear publicly in numerous debates and on Twitter and even on my own YouTube channel, I am not a scientist. I don't have
Yep.
scientific background.
I believe you.
I'm not really interested in the topic. I'm just a regular person who is skeptical,
Yet you're
and I
here.
have been attacked for my personal beliefs. And by the way, I was asked nicely to join the program by Ozian. Ozian is a friend. And he asked nicely, and I said, "Yeah, I'll come on and I will talk." And I was hoping that we can engage in sober discourse.
In
but
what?
You don't appear
You
to be
brought
interested in doing
nothing.
so.
You
And
brought nothing at all. I feel
don't
almost
even seem to
bad
understand
crushing
the
you
spirit
this,
of this
this
channel
much.
when
It's
it's in the description.
ridiculous.
So you rebuke me for not doing my due diligence. Well, neither did you.
What due diligence? I'm covering the topic exactly, and you won't touch it.
I came and I did what the channel suggests that people do: have conversations about science and philosophy. And you don't want to get into the philosophical component, or why somebody like myself would come to the conclusion or be skeptical of the claim made that man went to the moon.
You're right.
All right, I think we've
because that's not the
moved-
topic.
I think we've moved beyond moon landing hoax, which is what we were supposed to be talking about tonight. We've moved on to other subjects, and I think that it's time to go ahead and end the debate if we're not going to be talking about the moon landing hoax at all anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and jump us on to questions. So if you would like to get your question in, please get them into the chat, and we will go ahead and go there. First question. That matters now. Can Frog show where nuh-uh is valid evidence or a counterpoint? We'll do this in the spirit of MDD in the same way they do it. So this is addressed to WatchFrog. You can address it. If MC Toon ends up saying something, that's fine. But WatchFrog, you will get the final word on something that is addressed specifically to you.
Yeah, it's a really great question. Can you pull it up again so I can see it? So show me where nuh-uh is valid evidence or a counterpoint. Yeah, as somebody who's like not fucking retarded, when somebody says something that is obviously false, I can just say, nah, it's not true. Like, who fucking cares? Perfectly valid. I'm not going to waste my time on jackass endeavors. Like a lot of these science people, like if I was somebody like MC Toon, I wouldn't bother with flat earthers. It seems almost self-evident that the earth is around or whatever. Why even bother engaging with somebody like that? And by the way, the more that you guys do, the more that their numbers grow because of the behavior of these acolytes of science. But I mean, sometimes people just make claims, and you don't necessarily have all the tools or things necessary to counter them with with precision like MC Toon here. But there's a time and place to exercise skepticism. Like, for example, if somebody were to say my favorite color is blue, well, how do I really know that to be true? Or if someone says, or if a parent tells you, I love you with all my heart, there's no real way to know that for sure. And there's really no reason to be skeptical of that. But if somebody were to say, I was abducted by aliens and, they did all these things to me, well, that's an extraordinary claim that requires extraordinary evidence. And that's kind of how I treat the moon landing. Yes, I get that there's photos and videos and whatnot, but that stuff can be faked and fabricated. I mean, right now in the year of our Lord 2024, there's a push by the government and by the regime media to trick people into believing things that are not so. So now more than ever, people need to remain skeptical and not fall prey to people like MC Toon and Craig and whoever else, Dr. Fauci, Sam Harris. I mean, again, a lot of these guys are bad dudes, not you, MC Toon, but like Sam Harris is an awful human being. Dr. Fauci is an awful human being. And yes, they have PhDs, they have years and decades of experience, but a lot of the things that man said were not true. And a lot of the things that were said to
Okay, I muted him. I muted him. I'm just, this is just a soapbox. So if anybody can go over and tell the people on Matters Now, if you ask him a question, he's just going to soapbox. So, yeah. Anyway, this is an answer to where is valid evidence or a counterpoint? Wow. What a useless person he is.
To go home. So let's go ahead and cut the answers a little bit shorter. on
Of
those.
course.
And it's too bad we don't actually have Sam and Harris here, because I think we'd have a few more viewers if we did. Next question. The Indian lunar orbiter took images of the Apollo 11. I don't know if that I or one's supposed to be there, and 12 landing sites. So yes, we're going back and have been back. I think
Have been
that
going
is
back.
for something for Watch
That-
Frog
yeah.
to address.
No, that's for Matthew Hakeem, who's a different person. He's probably in your chat. He's a flurf.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, Matthew's a flat earther.
Okay.
I don't
let's
know
get-
anything about flat Earth stuff, so that's your guys' topic.
Let's jump to the next one here. Now, can Frog show?
That's
we
where
did
you-
that one. Now, ask the Froggy. We've got some solid ad hominems going on here.
Oh yeah, they're getting wild.
If he has any actual evidence. You've addressed this many times, so feel free
Yeah,
to address it in
yeah,
a
we
very
can-
summarized way. Okay, you want to move on?
Yeah, we can move on. We've already addressed that.
A question for MC Toon. As a Christian, would you swear on the Bible if you walked on the moon? If you went there, would you need to be pressured?
As a Christian, I would just simply read Matthew 5, where Jesus said, "Do not swear on anything. Simply let your yes be yes and your no be no." So to that person, I would say, yes.
All right. Ask McTuna. Okay, so we got some on him on ad hominems going of both directions here. From Hakeem, ask him how they got to the moon 50 plus years ago with bad computers, but in modern times with quantum computers, we cannot.
Well, in fact, we have. Artemis 1 orbited the moon. So we have been back. So past tense, we have been back with Artemis. In fact, there's been several others landings that are automated landings on the moon that have gone back. So the question is faulty from the beginning. But the computers back then were not bad. They were state of the art for the day. They pushed the edge of technology and did things that no computers did before. So it was pretty cool to see that those computers that they did were able to do the things they did. It was really awesome. So and there's nothing bad about those computers. I don't know why you'd say that. No.
We got a super chat for $5 from King Ed the Fifth, maybe. Frog, a skeptic would explain why the evidence is wrong. You don't explain anything. You just say nuh-uh.
Well, it's not necessarily true. I'll try to reiterate really quickly. Like, again, if there are things, human artifacts left behind on the moon, if I'm unable to see them, there's really no reason to believe that this event occurred. I know my debate partner presented video and other people have presented videos, but again, skeptics just don't find that stuff very convincing, or denialists don't find that stuff very convincing.
All right. At Matters Now, ask Froggy for an example of him being silenced in this debate.
I never suggested or said that I was silenced in the debate. Again, I was invited, so I assumed that would not happen, and that didn't happen the other times. Ozian was a gentleman for the most part, but no. Again, my whole point is to talk to people, and just let them know that it's okay to be skeptical and it's okay to think differently, and not to be bullied.
All right. From Max. Matters Now. Question for Giovanni. Watch Frog. How many times will it take you to be able to form a coherent argument saying over and over, "I don't believe" is not an argument? Sounds
Yeah,
similar to
I don't
think-
believe the onus is on me. I'm not the one making extraordinary claims, man. I'm just a regular guy who, sees things and has opinions about them. And unfortunately, for individuals such as myself, we get beat up on the internet. We get beat up in the real world, not just over this, but through other matters by these scientific authority types. And we got to stand up to them. We have to stand up to them, full stop.
All right. To Frog, once again, do you believe that incoherent ignorance is a valid debate argument?
Well, it depends what you think I said was incoherent or ignorant. Everything I said in my opening statement was true. And again, I'm not making grandiose claims about science or math or any of the tools used allegedly on the moon. I'm not pretending to, and I never pretended to whatsoever. Much like other people who are associated with this community were falsely claiming that I was a flat earther. I've never said the Earth is flat. Never said that whatsoever. So I would like an example, Don Giovanni.
All right. From King Ed the Fifth, once again, $2. Thank you so much. Why can't Frog ever answer a question directly?
I think I am answering questions directly, but you guys want ideological obedience, and you want me to bend the knee, and that's just not going to happen. I'm not a coward.
Watch Frog, can you provide any citation to support your claim that the number of people who believe the Earth is flat and the moon landings were a hoax? I assume they meant is growing or something, or are you just making a claim?
It's just an observation that their numbers are growing. I'm seeing a lot more of it on my timeline on Twitter and on Facebook and elsewhere. And this is stuff I've never researched before. I've never looked into this stuff. And you guys keep bringing them on these shows, and I keep being recommended this stuff. It's pretty self-evident that their numbers are growing.
All right. Watch Frog, can you provide the same question? Could the Frog tell us how many times NASA claims to have landed people on the moon?
Don't know, don't care. It's not interesting to me.
Okay.
6.
Hey, that's enough of you, Ozian. That's enough of you.
Yeah, he couldn't help himself. I can tell you grew up in the social media age when skepticism was ramped up earlier by propaganda. Did social media influence your skepticism at all?
I think it would be fair to say maybe. My first introduction to it was when Joe Rogan said the moon landing was fake, and again, I didn't care. But he was bullied by his friends like Neil deGrasse Tyson, etc. And I thought, that's kind of interesting. I wonder why they're so adamant about forcing him to believe in that. And then, of course, I made jokes in my private life and on my own feeds and stuff, and people responded very harshly to it. And that led me to believe that there's probably something else going on here. It kind of reminds me of, let's say, a Christian group, and then one person in that group decides, I don't really want to be a part of this anymore. I don't really want to go along with this anymore. And then that person gets attacked and viciously. And of course, people in this community probably have their own anecdotes about such things happening. And that's exactly what I'm seeing with the moon landing debates and with, I guess, flat Earth.
All right. $5 from King Ed the Fifth. Thank you once again. Can Frog provide, and I'm thinking, any evidence against the moon landings other than people lie?
No, not necessarily, but I think that's very compelling evidence to suggest that this event didn't really occur. There's a pattern of behavior from the permanent government, and that behavior is misleading the public, blatantly lying to them, and harming them in many such cases. And if there's a pattern of behavior like that, what reason is there to believe that they're telling the truth on this matter? And it's what I suggest about certain content creators who promote the science stuff. They were willing to lie to me about the observable world, things that are concrete, that are self-evident. Why wouldn't they lie about this stuff? I just want people to think critically and engage in reasoning. All right. It's important to do that.
All right. Frog,
Ooh, yeah, good point. I don't need to platform him. All he's doing is platforming. I don't understand why people keep asking him questions. If you want to poke at him, direct a question at me, and I'll answer it, poking him. But anyway. But yeah, Esteban, none of these, right? He's just a denialist. He's not a skeptic. A skeptic does analysis. A skeptic demands evidence. A skeptic looks at evidence. He's admitted he's never looked at any evidence. He's not a skeptic at all. He is nowhere near a skeptic. So I'm looking for when a question might be directed at me. So what things, Eric E., Master Flat Earth Theory says, what things in observable reality has the government lied about? The big thing that the government, what the government wants to do is there's two groups of people in the government. There's the people that need to get reelected. So they do what they can to get reelected. Right? And it's not a great motivation. Okay. Requiem Angelus asked a question. Okay. So the people, all right, so the people want to get reelected, and that's not a great motivation, right? It motivates them to do the types of things that may or may not be the right things. The other people in the government are people that want to keep their job, right? It's really both of them, but those people generally are guaranteed a job. So they tend, I think, to be a little bit maybe lackadaisical. It can at least lead them to that because they know that they're pretty safe in that job. So I think for the most part, the government doesn't care to lie to people. I think that for the most part, the government is sometimes just a little bit sloppy. If you look at Artemis, right? Artemis there's been some accusations. I don't know for sure. I haven't looked at the details, but some accusations that Artemis has been mismanaged and that it's been, right? They keep having delays, which happens. It's government. There's delays. It's space. There's delays. But what has the government lied about? You have certainly top secret stuff, military things. You don't want to release information that might compromise your government's safety. So those things, yes. Things like MK Ultra, where they were doing research that was shady. Well, yep. Other things, well, that was kind of a military angled thing. They were researching ways to talk to people. Oh, he's still talking. If you see, MK Ultra was about ways to get confessions out of people that were prisoners of war and things like that. That was the main initial angle of what they were researching. So, the movie trope of a truth serum, they were looking for that, but they didn't find it. It doesn't exist, but really. So, all right, yeah, Tuskegee, another, yeah. So there are, well, yeah, and we know about MK Ultra. So, yes, I have my loopback fixed. Okay.
MC Toon, how compelling is the evidence for the moon landing?
The evidence for the moon landing is exceedingly compelling. You can look at multiple lines of evidence and they all support the same thing. You look at all the different landings, you look at the evidence of the video. So I showed you video from Apollo 15 of a gravity matching exactly what the moon requires. And how could it have been done on the Earth? There's no answer presented, right? The "I'm not convinced" is actually just a waving of the white flag. That's an instant failure, right? I gave evidence. Saying "I'm not convinced" to evidence is not a rebuttal to the evidence. It is just a complete, you're just lying down, laying on the floor and dying. It is the absolute most instant way to fail in a debate is to just say, "I'm not convinced." Then you have the second, the multiple other corroborating evidences is you can look at the rate of falling of all of the different videos while they're on the moon, because they're not just the hammer. There's other things that fall when they drop them, and you can time those things too. You can look at the buggy of Apollo 16 and see the parabolic arc of the dust that's kicked back, you can determine the amount of time that it took to go from the peak of that arc to the ground. 1.6 meters per second squared is the amount of gravity that you will find there. So that's a different live video that people, that one wasn't live. That one was pre-recorded and sent later, but there's other live ones that people did. All of these different lines of evidence, when you actually do the analysis, they all agree with each other. And that's how you actually are a skeptic. You analyze the data, you analyze the evidence, you look for different lines of evidence to see if they line up or not. So very compelling. Further, there are third-party, non-NASA, non-US government sources of photographs of the moon landing sites, like from India. They did not publish it intentionally. They published the raw data from their surveys, and other people, not even people in the Indian government, found the photographs of the different Apollo landing sites from India, and identified where in the images, the photographs, that they found them, and then published them separately. And you can see the footprints, you can see where the lander is, you can see where the different science experiments were left. So all of those things you can see from third parties, not from NASA.
All right, thank you, King Ed V, once again for the super chat. We also got a super chat here from Kiwi. Frog, I'm skeptical about your credentials since your debate with FTFE. Can you provide evidence for your qualifications? Thank you, Kiwi.
Qualifications for what? You need to be specific, sweetheart. But I would like to defend myself and my fellow skeptics. I'm looking at the Oxford Dictionary definition of this word. A person inclined to question or doubt accepted opinions. It's exactly what I've been doing. I'm using the word correctly. But once again, my debate partner would like to mislead the good people in the chat, would like to mislead the audience members or anybody who will view this debate later. The facts are on my side, people. I mean, again, this stuff is self-evident. And it just sucks when we get into these very heated topics that we get distracted by things that
is this going meta again here?
Very simple to understand and self-evident, like the definition of a skeptic.
Is this just what you're going to do? You're not going to answer the question?
Wrong? Yes, which is
you're not going to answer the question. You're going to go off to a different question just to go soapbox again?
I didn't answer.
All you're doing is soapboxing here.
Question.
Frog, all you're doing, you're soapboxing. Yeah, you answered that, then you went on a soapbox again. That's what you've been doing this whole time. Soapbox, man, people made me feel bad. That's all you've been doing here. Cry, everybody. Get out your violins and play a sad song for Froggy. People said mean things to him on the internet. Grow a thick skin there, buddy. Grow a thick skin. Grow a thick skin. People say mean things on the internet every day. That's what happens.
Watch Frog. Any final comments?
No, I answered Kiwi's question. And I elaborated on the definition of skeptic.
Okay. Next question. The point is you can't point a camera at the moon and see small objects. This is once again a super chat from Esteban. Thank you. It's impossible due to optics. Why base your denial on something impossible?
Well, it's not even just a camera, but any scientific instrument, or let's say like a telescope or anything of that sort. Even the most powerful, most expensive one that I can get my hands on, I still would not be able to see anything up there. So the threshold is very high for me to confirm this thing. And that's a problem. That poses a problem for people who want to know the truth for themselves.
Thank you, Esteban. Just a few more questions. If you want to get a question in, I'm only going to do a couple more. So if you want to super chat one, we'll do it. Otherwise, we are about ready to wrap it up. For Watchfrog, what is your best piece of positive evidence that the moon landing didn't happen?
I'm not a retard. It's my best evidence.
Okay. Next question, and I think this will be the last question, and then we'll have a few. We'll let you guys push your socials and so on and so forth. At Matters Now from Taking Back Eden, MC Toon, when will the U.S. go back to the moon?
Several years ago. The U.S. has landed things back on the moon several times since 1972 when the last humans were there. Do you mean humans? Well, the plan is, and I don't think it's going to meet this, but the plan is, I think in think it's 3 years from now. But no, I don't think people will land on there in 3 years. It's probably more like 2030 would probably be about a more reasonable timeline.
All right. Okay, we're going to go to the end here. I think Oz wanted to mention that MC Toon is doing an after show. If you want to jump over to his channel, he'll be talking about the discussion that we had today, if you want to do that. But now I'm going to let you two pump your whatever social media things you have. Watch Frog, why don't you get us started? I know you kind of already did at the beginning. If you want to do us another little abbreviated version of that, that would be great. Point to people to where they can find you online.
Yeah, you guys can go to YouTube and find the Watch Frogs. There's links in the description to pretty much all of my videos and live shows. I'm all over the internet. I'm on Rumble. I'm on Twitter. I'm on BitChute, Twitch, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, so just look up the Watch Frogs on YouTube. You can't miss me.
All right, MC Toon.
I have 2 main channels. One is MC Toon Live, where I'm currently streaming this video. And then my primary channel is called Conspiracy Tunes, where I do pre-recorded videos. So those are the 2 that are the main ones. You'll find them on YouTube.
All right. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We couldn't do these without you. Appreciate it. Thank you all. And if you're welcome to join MC Toon and look for Watch Vlog on all those places he mentioned. Thanks again. Bye.
Oh, man, these people are mad.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. What an absolute useless person. That was I moon landing deniers are a little different than flatties in the debate. So when you're debating them, because they don't reject the shape of the earth. So gravity exists, the earth is a sphere, the moon is a sphere, there's the distance between them. All those things are there, right? So you expect you definitely expect a little higher level from them, just at least a notch up. But this guy was below Flurf. This guy is so bad that Flurfs would be embarrassed. Wow. So terrible. He absolutely refused to touch the topic. Okay. I have I'm gonna read the rest of the super chats, or all of the super chats. So I've got a copy of them. I will not skip any of them. And in 5 minutes, the next one, the live stream is set to just to go on for the after show, and we will have, we're lucky, we'll have some Res Rhetoric in that show. So people, thank you very much. Be ready to for the super chats and everything in that one. I hope to see you there. If somebody can drop a link in there, please, I would appreciate that in the in there. So all right, people, thank you very much. We'll see you in a minute. Here we go.
MC Toon, drop that beat.
All right, let it flow, let yourself go. So I know that is the tempo.
So yeah, let's do this.
Let's do this. Yo, it's MC Toon, the debunking tycoon. I shatter flat earthers, make them face the moon. Your attempts are decent, but they'll swoon in the face of my logic like a deflated balloon.
Oh, MC Toon, the monsoon of cartoons. I'm the real sage, send it first to their views. Your theories are like old brooms, sweeping ignorance or just spreading the views.
FDFE stands for fumbling the facts, evidently. I drop truth bombs so splendidly. Your approach is soft, mine's unrelenting. I bring the science while you're just venting.
MC Toon, the buffoon with silver spoons. I tackle pseudoscience, make them change their tune. You're the sidekick, I'm the rude. When it comes to debunking, I'm the rude.
But hey, FTFE, we share the creed to educate and debunk, plant the seed. Though in this rap, it's clear indeed I've got the upper hand in word and deed. All right, hold on a second. The Zoom call died. Everything died. No.